Hello everyone, welcome to Jets TV here on Jet Central. As you guys can see, I'm clearly traveling, but it doesn't matter, man. The show does not stop. Please comment, rate, subscribe, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, like the videos. I'm going to be recapping my Week 9 picks, so let's go ahead and get right into it. First game I want to talk about, Baltimore at Cleveland. Baltimore 25, Cleveland 15. Took Baltimore in this game. That got me a win. I really didn't think this game would even be... it wasn't really close. Baltimore still beat them by 10 points, but I really thought the Cleveland would get beat worse than this. But the fact that Cleveland couldn't even score a touchdown in this game, their field goal kicker Dawson kicked 5 field goals, but they just couldn't get on the board. And that was pretty much the difference in this game. Baltimore was able to really produce and score TDs. Joe Flacco was 15 to 24. He had 153 yards throwing the ball. Also had a TD. Ray Rice had 98 yards rushing. He had a TD as well. They were just getting the job done. Baltimore was just able to produce and lock down on Cleveland's, defensively. Brandon Wheaton had a subpar day. He was 20 of 37, 176 yards. He had 2 horrible interceptions. Richardson had a decent day with 100 yards on the ground. It took him about 25 carries to do it. But again, they could not get anything into the end zone. They just couldn't get the job done. So hats off to Baltimore. They got the win, and that got me a win as well. Next game I want to talk about, Carolina at Washington. Carolina 21, Washington 13. Took Washington in this game. That got me a loss. I really thought that Washington was going to be able to do more than what they did, but it seems like Washington's offensive game plan is to pretty much just give it to RG3 in every single situation and just have him, do something, make a difference. And in this game, they couldn't do that. They didn't have enough of what it would take to actually win the game. Cam Newton came out and was surprisingly accurate. He was on his game. Cam Newton was 13 to 23. He had 201 throwing the ball. He had a TD throwing, and he also had a TD rushing. Cam just looked like a different type of quarterback in this game. He threw a decent ball this game. Even Jonathan Stewart had 51 yards rushing. Cam really looked like a leader. After these last 2 weeks of where everything's just been in disarray around Carolina, Cam really stepped up in this game and said, hey, I'm taking over and I'm going to win it. RG3 had a decent day. He was 23 of 39. He had 215, but just nothing from him. Outside of that, it was nothing else. They kind of lacked a rushing attack. Morris only had 76 yards, but it was just the offense just sputtered. It just sputtered, and it was just bad for Washington. So hats off to Carolina. They got themselves a win. That got me a loss as well. Next game I want to talk about, Minnesota at Seattle. Minnesota 20, Seattle 30. I took Seattle in my picks video, and that got me a win. All you need to know about this game is that Wilson is the truth. This guy came out and got the job done. He was 16 of 24. He had 173 yards. He had 3 TDs. He was bombing. Marshawn Lynch also had a big game as well. He had 26 carries, 126 yards. He had a TD as well. Seattle just basically just absolutely came out and just willed themselves to a win. Wilson willed his team to a win. Christian Ponder played, decent football. He was 11 of 22. He had 63 yards throwing the ball, but he had an interception. Outside of that, it was nothing. Percy Harvin ends up getting hurt this game. He's having an MRI done. It just wasn't enough. Adrian Peterson had 182 yards in this game. He had 2 TDs, and it wasn't enough. It just was not enough. I don't know what's going on in Carolina. I don't know, what they're thinking, but they need to retool some things, because the fact that Christian Ponder only had 63 yards throwing this ball and he had an interception, that should just tell you something. But again, hats off to Seattle. They got themselves a win. It got me a win as well. Next game I want to talk about, Pittsburgh and New York Giants. This game was extremely close. Pittsburgh 24, New York Giants 20. I took the Giants in this game. That got me a loss. Now, early in this game, I was thinking to myself, the Giants going to run away with it. Andre Brown had ran the ball in to put the Giants up. He tied the game 7-7. Then they get a big time fumble return. The Giants do by Michael Boley. It's like a 70-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And I'm thinking, wow, the Giants are really going to put this game away. It's all said and done. It's over. Here we go. We're going to, they're going to start just absolutely just ripping into Pittsburgh. And Ben early was struggling. He was struggling a little bit early. They were rushing him into throws, and the offense was kind of sputtering for them. But then all of a sudden Pittsburgh is always able to play dirty football, keep the game close, and just get the job done at the end of the day. You know what? Ben Roethlisberger, again, he willed his team to a win as well. He was 21-30, 216 throwing the ball. He had 2 TDs. He had an interception, but he had 2 TDs. Isaac Redman, he had 26 carries. He had 147 yards and a TD. I mean, they kept themselves in the game and kept themselves close enough to be within striking distance to say, Pittsburgh never let the game get so far away from them that they weren't able to get back into it. And it really was a seesaw game. It was back and forth for a while. And then Ben was able Pittsburgh was able to, Isaac Redman was able to get in with 1 yard and score a touchdown. That put him up 24-20. And boom, gave Pittsburgh the win. Eli Manning had a decent day. He was 10-24. He had 125 yards throwing the ball. He had an interception. He didn't have any TDs. Bradshaw only had 48 yards rushing. I mean, the Giants' offense just didn't look all that great in this game. Like I said, from the Giants standpoint, there's a lot of fumbling and bumbling, and they let Pittsburgh stay in the game instead of just immediately boom closing them out, and that's what you have. So hats off to Pittsburgh, but that got me a loss, but got them a win. So next game I want to talk about, Dallas at Atlanta. Took Atlanta in this game. That got me a win. Dallas 13, Atlanta 19. Dallas misses a lot of opportunities during games, and they don't always seem to close games out. This game, to me, Atlanta was just a better team. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Atlanta's just a better team. We can talk about stats, we can talk about but Atlanta was just a better team in this game, period. Tony Romo, decent day, 25-35. He had 321 throwing the ball. He had a TD. Felix Jones had 39 yards rushing. Ogletree had 96 yards catching the ball. Des Bryant, 1 catch for 15 yards. I mean, Dallas just didn't get the job done. I mean, they had problems on a lot of different fronts. They had problems blocking, for Tony. I mean, they had problems on a lot of different fronts against Atlanta. Matt Ryan, these are just average numbers for Atlanta. Matt Ryan, 24-34, 342 passing the ball. Turner had 100+ yards on the ground. Julius Jones had Julio Jones had 129 yards catching the ball. Roddy White had 118. I mean, outside of Julio Jones and Roddy White's, big numbers, I mean, Matt Ryan didn't play all that well in this game. I mean, it's just, Dallas just got beat by a better team that was pretty much having an average day. It wasn't even like Atlanta was really putting it on them. Because Atlanta was kind of stumbling out the gate. There was a lot of miscues with Atlanta, and they still were able to put Dallas away. I get a lot of Dallas fans hitting me in my inbox, and they, why don't you talk about Dallas more? Why don't you, what do you think is wrong with this? I just think Dallas does not have the talent. Bottom line, everybody puts the Cowboys on these pedestals. They're America's team, blah, blah, blah. They don't have enough. You got Des Bryant, you drafted him. Is he going to show up? And if he does show up, what kind of guy is he going to be? Is he going to be a team builder or or is he going to be a distraction? Tony Romo, I mean, the flyer's still out on him. We don't know if Tony Romo is actually going to deliver. I mean, it's just a lot of so-so players. And the one thing about Dallas's team that I don't understand is with all these stars, DeMarcus Ware, Tony Romo, Des Bryant, Miles Austin. I mean, now we got Brandon Carr. I mean, you got all these stars. There's no leaders. There is no leaders on this Dallas team, and I just fail to understand how that is. But Again, guys, there goes my videos. This is my Week 9 picks recap. Please comment, rate, subscribe, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe again. And thanks for watching. Be on the lookout for my next weekly pick videos. All right, guys? Thanks.